Hi, this video is part of my complete Helm course. The link is in the description of this video, so make sure to give a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss any updates, subscribe to the channel. That being said, let's get started. So before we wrap up this introduction, I would like to briefly touch upon the topic of flow control within our Helm templates. It's possible with Go templating to add if conditions, to use for loops, and a few other constructs that allow us to control what gets rendered in the end. Let's briefly touch upon conditionals here and see what we can do with if-else conditions. So let's just take one example here, and let's say that we would like to render a set of labels in case our environment here in our values.yaml is set to production. Right, so we would like, let's say here, environment production, and then let's save this here, and now let's come to our sandbox.yaml, and we would like to now have a look at whether the value of our .values.environment is equal to production. Right, so now here you can see that in Go templating, the operator always comes first. And this is here a function as well. That's why the name is coming first here. You will see that we can pass multiple arguments. So it takes a variable number of arguments, but here we're just gonna work with two. So let's say if the environment here is production, we would like to render the following labels. We would like to render here environment, production, build, stable, and let's say here public ingress is true. So just a few examples here. And let's now say if this is not the case, so else here, if this is false, if the environment is not production, then we're going to change a few things here. So we're going to say environment will be here, let's say dev, the build will be alpha, just one example here, and the public ingress will be false. And then we do need to finish here, we need to close the if condition with end. All right, so now remember we have added here these dashes at the beginning, and I did not add any dashes here on purpose. So let's just see how that's going to look like whenever we render this template. And the moment we do that here, you can see, so let me clear the screen once again. The moment we do that here, you see that there is that white line here. But as you can see, these three lines were rendered all together based on the value of the environment property in our values.yaml. If we were to set this to anything else other than the production value, and then we were to come here to the terminal and run the template once again, then you will see that now we get dev, alpha, and then public ingress is set to false. Now it is good practice once again to remove these leading white spaces. So I'm just going to add a dash here, a dash in front of the else, and a dash in front of the end. You'll see that whenever I add a dash here, then Helm, or at least the IDE here, adds a second dash. So I'm just going to remove that here. If we now were to save this, come back to the terminal, clear the screen, and then we rerun the Helm template, then we get our information here. There are many other features and patterns and best practices when working with Go templates and with Helm, the overall Helm templating feature. But I believe that for now, this is a good introduction. So I'm just aiming here to show to you the syntax of some of the main features of Go templates. You can definitely go and look online for different functions or try your way around with if else and if else if as well. That's a valid syntax here if you wish to do so. So you can experiment and try as much as you want. We will come back once again to the topic of Go templates, and we're going to take a deep dive into the topic. So if you have questions in your mind, then I completely understand. Don't worry, we're going to come back to all this and discuss all these features in much more details a little bit later on the course. But for now, I believe that's a fair introduction. Let's then take a short break and come back to the next lecture.